Hey guys, welcome to Coaching with Chris. Look, how is your Tuesday? Are you out there doing the things that you should be doing? Are you doing the things that maybe you want to do? Or do you have a roadblock? Do you have something really truly holding you back? Look, I called Devin. I reached out to Devin. And one of the things was that I wanted him to encourage you. If a rookie can do it, you can do it. If you're a rookie, follow an easy plan, easy step. At the mastermind, they asked all the originators to raise their hand who's going through fear, who's lost some hope in the mortgage business, and 90% of the room raised their hand. Why? They need a plan. They need to be able to follow a plan and do a plan. But here's that problem. So many originators have so many roadblocks out there today that they actually can't even follow the plan. So look, I want you to learn from Devin. I want you to engage, ask questions, and we'll try to get to every one of them. But Devin, are you
Thanks,
ready?
Chris.
Devin, can you hear me good?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You bet. I wish I could hear you just a titch better. So I don't know if you can get a little bit closer to it.
Yeah.
But anyways, Devin, a little bit about your story. So you started in the mortgage business when?
About 2 years ago now.
Okay.
Year of training, and then I went full on LO about 6 months ago. Exactly.
So you've been an LO for 6 months, and I think that but you spent a year to kind of go through training, working with loan officers, learning how to disclose the whole gamut. What business or industry did you come from?
I actually came from commercial lending. It was a venture capital company that was a startup, and did that for 8 years. So I do have a little bit of experience on prospecting, that sort of stuff, but nothing to the level that we get coached on.
So do you feel like prospecting for the commercial type business and the mortgage business is way different?
No, I think it's really similar. I was going after vendors, and my vendors now are just financial advisors and realtors and divorce lawyers and that sort of thing. So it's very similar. As everybody knows, sales is relational. And if you're good at relationships, you're going to be good at sales.
That's so true. Look, so you've been in the business 6 months. How does your June and July look?
Well, I'm currently at 2.9 for June.
Okay.
And while we're in our meeting earlier today, I just got 3 more on the contract for July. So I'm probably going to be 3 million for July also.
So, wow. So 6 months in the business, next 2 months, you're at 3 million. And so let's get back to the very beginning. So 6 months you start, right? First of the year you start in this business. It's the frozen tundra. We got 18 million inches of snow that not very attractive or fun to be able to go to open houses or go look at, even think about buying. But what did you do in the very beginning to be able to really truly start in this mortgage game?
Yeah, so I just called realtors. That's all I did. For
like how many?
My list is 150 right now.
150
I don't work
realtors.
with 150, but I called on 150. Of
Okay.
the 150, I have about 25 strong relationships. But to your point about being in the frozen tundra, I would set up so I'd call on them. I'd do what's called a breaking bread. That's where we go get lunch or coffee. And I always had an optimistic outlook. I never spoke negative about the market because I don't know any better for one, but I didn't think the market was truly that bad. All I could tell is I was having a lot of conversations, people were moving, and there was a ton of business out there to be had. It's just, how do we find it? How do we connect with the ones that are actually doing the business? And then, how do we actually close those transactions?
Yeah. And, I kind of got to watch this journey as you went along, but I think that's a good point. I think that there's a lot of originators that talk negative about the market and think that that could be attractive. And that is the quite opposite. But you did stay positive. You didn't dwell on all of those things. But then where was the hard part? With those first 6 months, where did you hit a roadblock, or where did it get so hard, or maybe you started to doubt yourself, or when did it ever happen? Because we're all human.
Yeah. I wouldn't say there was a major roadblock, but what transpired is it's not really a negative thing. I was getting so many applications that I couldn't keep up. And then, so I actually had to stop, prospecting, pull off the throttle a little bit just to do the volume that I was getting. So I guess that would be my biggest roadblock. And then it's just the follow through, right? So obviously it's easy to get a deal in, but we got to follow up. We got to stay in front of the customer. We got to make them feel really, really good. And we got to make them feel really good at the closing table. So, maybe some growth pains more than roadblocks, I would say. But yeah, I guess that would be my answer to that.
So, one of the things is that the first question came up, which we'll try to, as we go through, we'll try to answer these questions, which is, when you're calling realtors, what does that conversation look like? So let's go to the beginning, right? So to build the relationship, you're new. I'm sure there's all kinds of weird things going through your head when you're starting to call. And how are you starting that conversation for the very first conversation?
Yeah, probably the first 25 to 50 realtors I called on, I would literally stalk them on Facebook. If we had a mutual friend, I'd say, hey, Jesse was talking about you and spoke really highly of you a couple of weeks ago. I really like to surround myself with great people. It'd be great if we could connect. And that's how I typically get the meeting when I was cold calling, but that's where it started. And then when you get into
one sec, Devin, I think you said something that I want to make sure everybody catches. You took the cold out of cold calling. Yeah. And what I mean by that is that you did your research on who you're calling. You knew about them. You knew about their family. You knew about their activities. You knew some of the things about them. But then also you looked and seen who your mutual friends were, and you used that to your benefit to start that conversation, which, by the way, guys, that is the greatest way to get the highest yeses for a meeting is that I see you're good friends with Josh. I'm good friends with Josh. Oh my gosh, your kids play soccer. My kids play soccer. And that starts to connect and build a relationship, which in that moment is easier to get that appointment. Was there any other things that you did to be able to get that break bread?
Every listing agent. So, I was only doing 3 to 7 loans per month in the beginning. But I would leverage that deal with the listing agent. So I'd obviously call them, I'd give them updates, but then I'd say, hey, how's this going for you? And if there was a positive response, it was, let's grab lunch. Let's just get to know each other. We're going to run into each other more on more transactions. We have to get to know each other. I'm in this business for the long haul, and we might as well know everybody.
So you're calling the listing agent. You're talking about how the progress of the loan is going. You're keeping them updated, which I know some people keep them updated, but it's like so robotic. Yeah. I felt like when you're updating them, you're treating it like I really want to get to know you better. And is there any type of script that you're using in the beginning with that listing agent that you feel is added value for the listing agent, in case there's realtors on here, and also for you?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say it starts with that initial phone call, just reassuring them of your pre-qualification letter. So that's where I'd always start. I call every single listing agent that a letter gets sent out to. One of the ones I got under contract today is Texas. And it was because we had a 15-minute conversation with the listing agent and just reassured him, well, did you do this? He was asking, is income verified or asset? Yes, it's all done. I assure you, I know what we're doing. We're going to close this transaction. We're going to close it on time. But locally, I'd say, it starts with that conversation. And then, once you're under contract, you're giving them the appraisal update, you're giving them the title update, you're giving them the survey update, you're giving them an update that we're essentially going to close on time. So I'm calling that listing agent just as much as I'm calling that buyer agent, just to build that relationship. I know they're going to have great experience. I know not everybody's doing that. And then that's when I call for the meeting. That's when I do that ask and get the meeting and build the relationship on the backside.
I know it's like, in a sense, guys, if you caught that or not, but you all know you can do a really good job of getting a loan done. But sometimes just knowing that's not enough or saying it's not enough, Devin, what you're doing is showing them. You're showing them that you can I can do a really good job. I can give a great experience. I can close you on time, and I can take care of the headaches. And then all of a sudden, pretty soon they want to work with you. How many of the listing agents would you say do you convert to an appointment?
It's over 50%.
Wow.
It's over. You're having so many conversations with them. It's really not a cold call. It's definitely not a cold call, because you're calling about other things first. You're not calling for a meeting. You're calling about other things. Then they see how you do business, and it's almost a guarantee you're going to get the meeting. You just got to knock it out of the park on the meeting.
So, I think, if I'm listening to this call, one of the things that's going through my mind is that I have been in the business 6 months. I have concentrated on realtors. 150 is your list. And I am concentrating a lot of effort also on the listing agent. How many do you feel like of the listing agents have you converted to actually working with each other?
5 to 7.
5 to 7 in 6 months.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy. And how many realtors do you feel like you've either been able to refer a deal or they've given you a deal in the last 6 months? Total. I mean, between buyers, you cold calling, whatever that number is.
I was just telling my senior, Kevin Carlson, probably 3 weeks ago, that I was almost 1 for 1 on all my realtors. And it's simply because I can't just rely on realtor business to do the volume that I want to do. So I'm out there grinding. I'm out there having intentional conversations. Me and my wife, we're going to events, parties every single weekend. I do open houses every single weekend. So my referral, what I give back to my business partners, is unique right now just because of that. I hope it continues. You're only going to build strong relationships when it's a two-way highway. So, I mean, I have a couple VIP realtors that maybe we're on a 3 to 1 ratio right now, where they send me all their business. So, and
they've sent you 3, you've sent them 1 back.
Correct.
So I think everybody's saying, okay, wait a minute, Devin, how are you doing a 1 to 1, 3 to 1 ratio? And what are you doing to do that?
I'm having conversations about mortgage every place I go. It's intentional. I'm always prospecting. I never shut it off. I can't. That's kind of addicted to it, to be honest. But I never shut it off. We're at parties. We're at events. We were at Pride this last weekend. I had 3 conversations about mortgage. We were at the First Friday, which is an event downtown Sioux Falls. There was a gal there selling bows. Nobody was coming up and talking to her. I went up and talked to her just to learn about her business, just being curious, just asking questions. Next thing I know, she just got done with the divorce and she's 6 months away from buying a house, so it's just always having conversations, always inquiring about them, and they'll reverse the script and start asking what you do. And it's natural. Just be a human,
Yeah, but being a human and then being curious into others is it's not a hard trait to learn, and it shows that you care. And when you care, they're willing to share something about them, which then could lead to a mortgage, lead to getting to a realtor. I love it. Do you and your wife actually plan out events that you're going to go to so that you can get opportunity, or does this happen?
She always entices me to go to an event because she's like, well, there's going to be people there that are going to need a house. So
wow.
She kind of always motivates
supporting.
me to go. Yeah. She kind of motivates me to go because I don't, it's a long, I'm at the end of the week on a Friday. Do you really feel like going and socializing more? Not all, you're kind of burnt out at the end of the week. So it does always take that little bit of pep to get me to go. But yeah, no, it's strategic, and that's how I set up all my relationships. So my wife is always having conversations with people around mortgages, and I've coached her on having conversations. I've coached my friends on how to have conversations. So I'm literally constantly having conversations with my friends, my significant other, on, hey, let's talk about people's homes. Let's talk about how we can educate them. Let's talk about how we can help them get into homes. Because, I'm 33. So a lot of people are, we're millennials. So a lot of those millennials are just getting into the buyer pool. A lot of them don't know, or maybe they're that move up family. A lot of them are having kids now too. So it's a move up family. So I just think the more conversations you have, the more you'll get out of it. And then, that's what contributes a lot to my ratios on my realtors, is because I'm constantly having those conversations. So I'm going to have more deals to refer back.
Yeah, if I was a realtor, I'd want to work with you because one of the things that you get to say is that I have more conversations than most.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're looking for a true lender partner, this is all of the things that I'm going to do to keep me out front. So not only am I always hunting for buyers, but I'm always hunting for a listing. I am never not hunting. And that's pretty attractive when you get to talk to a realtor. We can all say, well, I do these loans and I do this, or I have the best price, but you're not selling that. You're selling that I have the most conversations. I have the most opportunity for you and I to be able to work together and for me to get to a comparable ratio number. That's why you need to use me exclusive. Is this true?
Yeah. And there's no balance. I mean, to build these relationships as quickly as I have, it's you're always available. There's no exceptions. I just got a $800,000 deal referred to me last night at 8:30. I responded right to the text message. I could have forwent and just dealt with it today, but it was an instant response. It was I have a meeting with him at 3 p.m. today, and it's just being available, showing that you're willing to be in the trenches with them. They're working after 5. They're working on the weekends, the realtors. And we need to be too if you want to grow your business. I personally believe that. There's really no balance in today's market. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit tougher, but it's gonna be really fun when it gets good.
Yeah, and I think everybody needs to know your market. Like I hear people judge or make excuses. Well, that market's really good, or that market's really hard, or you don't understand my market. But in your market, how many? Is there even a month's worth of inventory in your market?
I think there's a month and a half of inventory.
Month and a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so that includes all the crap listings and everything else that either overpriced or the property's too run down, or all of those multiple different situations are in. There's a month and a half worth of inventory, which a normal market is 6. So it is pretty much slim pickings. Plus, there's only 600 realtors-ish in our market, or is there more?
Right around 600. I think it fell off. It wasn't. I remember the number. It was 930 when I started. I've heard that quite a few fell off, but yeah.
But then there's always the 90-10 rule, 80-20 rule, right?
Yeah.
So do you look at stats when you're looking at a realtor? Do you look at the stats to see if it's a fit, or you don't pay attention to it?
I don't care. Honestly, what I do when I started, I would make my list. I probably shouldn't say this, but I would go on Zillow and look who's doing listings. If they had a listing, they were talking to people. If they were able to acquire that listing, they were talking to people, and I wanted to talk to those people. And that's how I started. I'll just call people that had active listings, and sometimes they would be a 5 transaction a year realtor, and sometimes it'd be a whale. And I wouldn't know any different. I didn't know any realtors. I didn't know who was who in Sioux Falls, but that didn't mean I wasn't going to call on them. So yeah, that's how I go about it. And now, obviously, being in the business long enough, I have noticed who does the business. But there's always people leaving, or their business is slowing, and there's always people that their business is growing. So you don't necessarily know who to target based on that. It always changes. I have a realtor right now. She did probably $6 million over the last 6 months, and she says that she doesn't really want to work in July and August. So you're constantly having to call on new realtors to gain new relationships, because if you take your foot off the gas, it will die.
So one more topic on realtors, and then let's talk about where you're getting additional business. How do you stay organized? And how do you stay disciplined in continually being able to connect with all of these realtors? This is a big list. This is a big undertaking. And quite frankly, this takes a lot of time.
It all starts with PCB, Plains Commerce Bank. You guys kind of created the system, the process to, at least have me be somewhat successful. I'm under a senior, which is a beautiful thing because I get a lean on him, but then I also get to use his team. So I guess to answer that question about organization, that's how I stay organized. I have a lead tracker. It goes by month. So every lead that I get in per month goes in that lead tracker. There's certain colors that I stay organized with.
How many leads does it take to do 3 million a month, in your opinion?
the type of leads I get, I think my lead, my conversion rate is lower. It's 32% because of probably the quality I'm getting. So it's 40 to 60, leads. I've been averaging 30 apps for the last 3 months.
Okay.
I focus more on apps than I do leads because anybody can.
That's a real deal.
Yeah.
You've got an opportunity.
Yep.
Okay. So you're following a lead tracker. So you're tracking where you're getting your leads from. You're tracking the leads. You're reviewing the leads, and then you roll it to the next month. You're doing a greatness tracker.
Yep.
And so the greatness tracker for everybody. Look, it's my coach taught it to me years and years ago. It changed my life. But he's tracking his face-to-faces. He's tracking his break breads, which is having anything above bubble gum with somebody. He's tracking his phone calls, his thank you cards, his videos, and his leads, deals, and pre-quals. And so how many outbound phone calls are you saying you're averaging in a week?
Easily over 100.
Over 100 calls a week.
Yeah.
So 20 a day-ish.
And they're not all prospecting. They're not all prospecting, but
right.
Phone calls.
Okay. And then face-to-faces and break breads.
Face-to-faces, I mean, I'm fairly conservative on my greatness tracker. It's 15 to 20, but it's realistically probably more face-to-faces. And then breaking breads, I'm a little more detailed on, so that's probably 5 to 7 per week. Okay. 5 to 7 coffees, lunches. We count reoccurring breaking breads, so my whole thing is I have to get lunch. It's always lunch. It's not coffee with my realtors once a month. That's my rule. So.
Yeah. So for the question that I put out, can you put the tracking in comments? I can do better than that. We can send you the 2 forms that Devin uses, the greatness tracker and the lead tracker. And then we can also give you the explanation of how best to use it. I would say that using the greatness tracker or a lead tracker, Devin, wouldn't you say is something you had to learn and perfect over the first 6 months and probably frustrated?
Yeah. So I never had any history of, tracking my prospecting or my activity. So it holds you accountable. You're holding yourself accountable to start with, but we also have to send it to our coach every week, and you're gonna get called out if you have light activity, because light activity makes it very evident when you're only, when you're not producing where you want to be. So yeah, it holds you accountable. I started that way. I didn't know anything different here at PCB, but I can't imagine not doing it now. I'd never not do it. So
now it's a habit. Yeah, that's so cool.
And you're intentional. Makes you intentional about it. Makes you intentional about your activity.
One of the things that I fought years ago, and every once in a while still do, is that, I got this greatness tracker. I got this, not really the lead tracker, more the greatness tracker, is that I want to rush to get it done, like completing a task. How do you stay intentional and still do the work?
I guess my whole thing is like I call for any reason I have a reason to call. I always pick up the phone because you never know where that conversation is going to be, where it's going to go. Can't tell you how many times I've called just for an appraisal update or, hey, what failed? Yesterday I had 1 fail inspections. Hey, what failed on the inspections? Next thing you know is he was going to in another appointment. He's like, hey, I'll get you this deal. So it's just like,
so you called on curious about what failed, which means you care.
Yep.
Which then led to a lead. Yep.
Just always being on the phone with your referral partners. I mean, a lot of these people are my friends now too, so it makes it easy. But I don't text really for updates. It's all, if I have a reason to call, I call.
It sounds like you make a reason to call, which I like.
I suppose, yeah. I don't know. It's how I've always been, so it's all I know.
Yeah. Okay, so we got this realtor section. I think we all kind of understand it. We understand how you're tracking your business. We all understand that you're being held accountable. So just so you guys know, I don't rush to hiring loan officers internally. I only have loan officers in South Dakota. We have 25% of the market share. we're grinders. That's all we do. We work the same as everyone else. They see all the options of where they can send the loan to. They get to pick it, and off it goes. But they get coached one week in a small group at their level. The next week they're all in a big group with me, and then it goes every other. They all have to turn their homework in every week. Everything gets looked at, judged, and being able to say it. The one thing I'm adding that Devin just found out, which was grading their own work. So they get to grade their own homework. How well did I do? Am I an A? Am I a B? Am I a C? Did I fail? And I think there's a lot to be said with that. And so all of these forms that we'll share with you, we'd love to share with you of what Devin is using. Being honest with yourself is the key. And then actually having someone hold you accountable is the second key. Otherwise, it's not any good. Would you agree?
100%. You have to be held accountable in this industry.
Yeah. So where else are you getting deals?
Builders, financial advisors, and friends.
So which would be the next category, the biggest category on your lead tracker that you would say dominates after realtors?
It's split between friends and builders right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you working builders?
So coming from the commercial space, it's always how to mitigate liability, right? So when I first entered this industry, I knew that you could build a spec home, you could build a custom home, and there was no concerns with selling it. Now you go out and build $1 million, $1.5 million home. It's going to sit in Sioux Falls. It will sit. There's a couple of them right now that, it wasn't us or whatever, but the loan didn't perform, and these builders are sitting on them, and they've been sitting on them for 4 months now. So how I start the conversation is, I really want to protect your business. One spec home in a higher caliber could literally destroy their business, when they're only building 10 to 12 homes a year. So I'm going after those mid-level builders, and I'm convincing them that they need to send their deals to me first. We'll get them pre-qualified. We'll do the construction loan in-house. I'll reassure them of the file, and we'll fund on it. So it's really just having that conversation of how we can help mitigate their risk, help protect their business so they don't fall into a trap of being caught with a high-end home they can't sell.
Yeah, and I think you have a huge advantage that you can do it and do the takeout. So for those of you that don't have Devin's advantage, I want to say this, is that for years and years and years when I was a broker, I didn't have Devin's advantage. And so the way that I did the same as Devin, which is I was able to say, I have a team. I have partnered up with another community bank, and I do the takeout. We work together. This ensures you set up for success. And then I introduce the team. I can do a joint lunch. I can bring the commercial loan officer in. And so that commercial loan officer knows he's in his lane. I know I'm in my lane, and it works as a really true partnership. You set up a text thread between the three of you, the builder, the commercial loan officer, and yourself. And so all communication you're at the forefront of it, and it works beautifully. So don't make an excuse and saying, well, I don't have Devin's advantage. You do. You just got to go out and get it. By the way, that community bank will think a lot of you, and you will get more referrals from that commercial loan officer on other deals as you build confidence with them. And you would have an advantage that Devin wouldn't have, because another bank's not going to give Devin a deal.
Yeah.
Talk about friends. I think a lot of people stay in friend zones. It's hard. You said you coach your friends how to refer you.
We were sitting at a distillery the other night, and a friend, he's a nurse lead. So he's in front of a ton of new recruits, ton of nurses, perfect buyer pool. And he goes, yeah, we just had a class of recruits. It was like, he was sending out 10 thank you cards, just thanking them for, their attention and blah, 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 blah. And he goes, every address I wrote was a renter. He goes, I can't figure out how I can have that conversation about mortgage. I said, Jacob, this is how it goes. I said, have you ever thought about buying? Have you ever talked to someone about buying? I have this really, really good friend who will just educate you. It'll be non-invasive. He'll just educate you. He'll show you the programs. He'll show you what you qualify for, and you'll get a lot out of the meeting. And so that's kind of the scripting I use with him. And literally the next day, I had a deal. So
no way.
I swear, people who are not in sales need coaching. They need to have scripts to follow, because they don't. He literally asked the question, I don't know how to refer. And it's just, you don't have to do anything. Just get in front of them, tell them that I know someone really, really good who can just have a conversation with you, and you never know where the conversation will lead, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. That's awesome. That is not only an amazing friend that like saw that, and then you solved the problem by giving him the script. And I think that, you know, people want, guys, if you pick up one thing from Devin, it's this: people want to refer you. Your spouse wants to refer you, your friends want to refer you, your family wants to refer you, your realtors want to refer you, but literally most people don't know how. They don't know how. They don't know how to open the conversation. They don't know how to start it, because they don't know how, and they don't know how to start it. They won't. And you're like, yeah, I just never get any referrals. Chances are they don't know how. And once you teach them like Devin is, you're going to have way better success. Also, going back to that lead tracker, here's why the lead tracker will change your business. Because every month you get to do a review. It's your P&L. You get to see, Devin looks at every single category. Did he get a referral from a current customer, from a past customer, from a friend, from a builder, a realtor, or even VIP or other? And so he gets to look at that and goes, hey, I'm a little light in this area. And then you put a little bit more work in that, which I would say, you mentioned working with some attorneys. You mentioned with financial planners. Which one do you like? Area do you like better? And what could we touch on that you've had some success in?
I would say financial advisors. And I think it really boils down to, in the age demographic that I'm in, a lot of my friends don't have financial advisors, and I'm willing to have money conversations. I'm not ashamed to talk about money. So I'm having those conversations with my friends, and I'll flat out ask them, like, are you set up with a financial advisor? So that's a referral back to my financial advisor. And you know, he obviously wants to build my business too. So it's just being strategic. Once again, you're always trying to help grow other people, and those people will grow you. I mean, it's not rocket science, you know.
We make it sometimes. We overthink this business. I think that in our group that we just got done with, a couple loan officers said, I'm a perfectionist and it hurts me. And when we overthink it, then we think of every reason why not to do something. Look, as we wrap up here, Devin, you know, give me 2 to 3 things that as an originator today that I need to be doing to be able to get more leads, get more deals, and be able to change my business.
It comes down to activity. If you do the activity, if you do the greatness tracker, if your top, we always say it, if your top section is full, your bottom section fills in. It takes 90 days. 90 days. If you go out and pump the street, hit the street, you coached us on live and local, you know, getting face to face, doing the breaking breads, making the phone calls. The business just trickles in, and it was so evident because my January was pretty light. My February started to fill in. My March, April, May, June, July explode. I mean, they literally exploded. So I think it's as simply as just doing the activity, being strategic about where you're at, where you're going, the conversations you're having. And if you're always talking about mortgage, you're gonna have deals. You're gonna have deals.
So to sum it up, never stop talking.
Never stop. Unfortunately, never. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Hopefully, you're good at talking, but yeah. If you don't, yeah, if you have good intentional conversations, people want to work with you. If you show passion, you know, you got to show passion for the industry. You got to come off as confident. You know, if you have those things going for you, that there will be deals for you. There's a lot of business out there. There really is. You just got to find it.
Love it. Devin, thanks for jumping on Coaching with Chris. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If there's a topic, something that you want us to cover, we want to cover it. Thanks for attending Coaching with Chris. Have a happy day.